I just realized something, like,
Hmm?
for the first time in months at this point, I believe, we have a non-PvP in the semifinals.
Oh my.
It's finally happening. It is finally happening as we start off our series on Beckett Industries, LE, the business incubator where they cultivate people, ideas, and resources to... I don't remember the LinkedIn description. Here in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner, the red protest player coming down from South Korea. He is going to be representing Afrika Freaks. Are you free?
Down under.
He is the CEO, director of S.H.I.E.L.D., himself the top agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury. He is Stats.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Beckett Industries LE, we have the Mexican Terran player. He is blue. He is representing Team Exxon. It is SpeCial.
And real quick, I need to rewind to about 3 minutes ago when we were talking about unhinged protest players. I completely forgot, and I'm so sorry. Patience is also the other player who has a claim
The
to most unhinged
Mate,
protest
I think he's the most unhinged.
is.
Yeah, he's... Oh god, that'll be so much patience. Wake up, wake up in the morning and sign up for ESL Asia. God damn it! I'm gonna ping like Crank on Cacao and get him to do so.
It's every Sunday morning. Be like, yo, get patience on. Crank is like, what the hell? I'm trying to take a nap before I cast tonight.
Oh god. But yes, here we are in this series, and yo, after the vetoes are said and done, we are actually on Beckett Industries.
Yeah, our newer map, one of the newest maps anyway in our map pool, and the shortest rush distance map in a long time. I don't quite remember if Everdream was had as short of a rush distance as Beckett Industries here, but potentially, yeah. With the speed zones, I have to imagine Beckett Industries is faster.
Yeah, we need some people out there to do some math, to do some testing as well. But regardless, the rush distance is incredibly short here on a map like this, so we'll see if these players use it to their advantage. So far, there's no like cheese or anything like that, but we do see SpeCial being pretty aggressive with this Reaper, almost getting a probe.
Yeah, that is an aggressive scout, to say the least. Not getting any probe kills here, but does have good eyes on the main base and natural base of stats. Knows that there's no proxies coming his way. So he's just going to do the standard Terran thing, you know, build up back at home, make sure he's nice and safe with that bunker, and just try to get some harassment out. What's it going to be this time, Light? Are we feeling Banshees? Are we feeling Mines? Are we feeling Hellions? Okay, it's not going to be Hellions.
Yeah, I was about to say, there is a tech lab on this factory, and I imagine the factory is going to switch to the starport, so we could see some Ravens, we could see some Banshees. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on SpeCial and see what he has in store for us, as, oh, he will lose that Reaper.
He thought he was safe. He didn't realize the shade was committed.
And what's important is that SpeCial actually, he didn't scout the tech here from stats, so he doesn't know if it is a Stargate or if it is a Blink on the way or if it is a Twilight Council. So yeah, he's kind of in the dark right now, which to me makes sense as to why he is going for a Cyclone, to just kind of play it safe and cover his bases.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate here. SpeCial knew what was coming his way, then there's a lot of potential for him to harass, but yeah, as you said, since he didn't know what Stats is building into, he might as well play it safe. Actually, with that Warp Prism, Stats can start getting a little bit aggressive, so yeah, this defensive posture that SpeCial is saying can definitely pay off.
It definitely could. I'm a little bit concerned because obviously when you want to defend against Blink Stalkers like this, you get a couple of tanks, right, to like secure your natural and to secure your main base, because as you were pointing out, Blink is done and the Stalkers are already going across the map, and that Warp Prism will provide that high ground vision.
See how well SpeCial can hold against this. He does have a bunker in the front, but only a single Marine is in there. If Stats calls his bluff, okay, there are Marines being sent forward. So yeah, Stats cannot blink through here anymore, but that is not the priority for him. Priority is his main base, and it's not a lot of defenses up here.
Yeah, the tank is on the way, and in a couple of seconds it will pop out, and then he will have enough maybe to defend his main base. But oh, he's not done yet. Oh.
Yeah, he sent the anti-air away, and that really is the main priority. Take out the Warp Prism, and you just shut down the blink push completely. But Stats is not going to the main. Attacked the natural base. SpeCial, thankfully, quick enough to reposition his army. And he will be able to chase his way for now. Needs to keep his eyes on that Warp Prism.
Oh my god, speaking of, meanwhile, Stats, he blinks on forward, does take some tank volleys, but he takes out that Cyclone, and that Raven is one volley away to getting picked off as well.
And that Cyclone is really the key defensive unit here, at least when it comes to the main base defense. In natural base, SpeCial is more than secure, but Stats is just reposturing around.
That he is behind this, he is still teching up, he's throwing down additional gateways, throwing down a Templar Archive, so he can transition into Archons or even into Storm, into those High Templar.
And it's really up to him. He has the world on his fingertips. He is containing SpeCial so hard onto these two bases. Stim is about to finish up, and that's going to give SpeCial the opportunity to just break out of here, maybe send a drop out, try to get some damage done, but he's not even going for the third base light. SpeCial does not want to expand.
That's what I was about to say, like, SpeCial still doesn't have a third CC. That tells me that he wants to be insanely aggressive and go across the map. The problem with that, though, is that Stim is about to finish up. +1 is still a ways away. Ideally, like, you kind of want some kind of timing and go across the map, but if he waits for +1, like, by the time it finishes, like, Storm is going to be done.
Yeah, this definitely feels a lot more of SpeCial. He didn't plan to go for the two-base push like this. He, I think, wanted to play out a bit more of a longer game, but after the contain here from Stats, decided, you know what? You forced my hand, Stats. I didn't want this to happen, but I am gonna push out with what I've got. But he is waiting for that +1 to finish up while sending a drop to North.
Yeah, and again, if he waits for it, I mean, he is pushing out a little bit now, but yo, Storm is a couple of seconds off. They're already 4 pre-morphed in High Templar, ready, gathering that energy, ready to storm the army. Oh, God.
Oh, boy, this could go terribly for SpeCial. Best case scenario, he's able to target down those Templar with his tanks. They're not quite in position yet, though. The drop in the north does get spotted, and it gets deflected by the Stalkers. Beautiful defense here from Stats, covering every single one of his blind spots.
Mate, Storm is done, mate. Storm is done. The High Templar, they're posturing right now. They want the Terran army to go up the ramp. Meanwhile, SpeCial is slowly leapfrogging. He has 4 tanks, to be fair. Like, 4 tanks are pretty huge. Is it going to be enough? Oh!
Beautiful feedback over there. A bunch of the Zealots and a couple of those High Templar do get the reload, but the High Templar do get picked up into the Warp Prism. The tanks get taken out by the Zealots. Beautiful Storm.
And that
takes out a decent amount of the bio and softens up the tanks, and that's pretty much all she wrote.
Yeah, exactly. The Warp Prism will go down. Nice target fire there by the Marines, but the Warpin did finish. We do have Charge Lots and Archons, and Stats does force SpeCial back.
How's the kiting? It's decent with the stim, but the tank was a little bit exposed. Now that it's in the medevac, it is not going to get too much done. The kiting actually really good for SpeCial. He's had the army supply, but let's not forget, a lot of that army is in medevacs.
Yeah, it's not exactly ideal when it comes to the main army engagement. Stats, for now, he has defended. He is able to bring back the Stalkers that were in the main base down to defend, and yo, behind this, Stats is even taking a 4th base. He's expanding right now.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, SpeCial finally is able to get a 3rd base, so he's not all in, but he might as well be. Stats is just running circles around him economically. Not the best fight here for Stats, really overestimating how effective his Zealots were gonna be. But doesn't matter in the end.
I'm just so impressed because every single time Stats, he has backup High Templar. As we see, they were already morphed in as the fight was going on. GG gets called, and Stats takes game 1.
Ironsides, you could call him. Oh, what's that term? When you defend like literally perfectly, when you cover every single blind spot, when
You know what they call it, mate?
Hindsight?
Mate, it's the Shield of Ire, mate. That's what that is.
Shield of Ire. That's what he is.
Aye. But
That's the reason why we call him Nick Fury.
I was just so impressed because every single time there was a fight, I'm like, oh, like in this fight, there's like the High Templar and they storm and they turn into Archons and they die. I glance at the third base. As that fight was happening, Stats actually already had High Templar warped in and they were just gathering energy back there. They just weren't a part of the army control group. And so then when SpeCial finishes the fight, he pushes up the ramp. Oh, here's some High Templar already ready and waiting at the third. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like Stats always had Storm available to him.
So those Marines got out of the fight. They're badly bloodied and bruised, but you know what? They go up the ramp, they can get kills. Oh wait, what's this? It's a Storm.
Amazing
control. Just real good forward thinking coming up from Stats that game.
Yeah.
Defending his drop locations, warping in those Templars, he said, while fights were going on. And let's see if he continues here. On 2000 Atmosphere, LE, we are back at Y2K. Everybody get your Motorola Razors out and your Blink 182 records, or I guess CDs at this point. It is the year 2000. In the top right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner, the red Protoss player coming down from South Korea. Super forward-thinking, super solid. He is the Shield of Ire, representing Afrika Freaks. Bless these reigns.
Down in Afrika.
He is Stats.
And spawning in the bottom left, but also with a quote-unquote proxy, a pseudo proxy, if you will, we have the Mexican Terran player. He is representing Team Exxon. It is SpeCial.
I got a fun fact for you, Light. Kerwin was showing me this build just on Friday.
Oh, is this the... God, he had a name for it, which I don't think we can say on stream.
Yeah, that's... would definitely get us flagged a little. But yeah, this is a fake-out proxy here. You get that Reaper to rally back into your main base to try to clear out a probe, but that is not all. So SpeCial is going to be getting his factory right now. Once that finishes up, he should have enough to immediately grab a tech lab and then another CC in the natural position. He's gonna get a Cyclone out and then try to get some tanks. This is a 3 racks build with some tank support.
Oh boy, and we'll see if Stats can suss it out, because right now Stats goes back in, he sees the factory being built at home, so now he knows that there isn't really a proxy out on the map, right? Like, because otherwise there would be more racks out there and there'd be less here at home. He also scouted both gases being taken, and he even confirms the natural base. So Stats, he should feel fine at home, he shouldn't overreact, and he even has this adept here to defend against the Reaper.
And I think this is what will confirm to Stats that, yeah, this isn't going to be a proxy. I don't really need to be sending my probe around here, but I do need to prepare for what's coming my way. It is going to be a very aggressive push from SpeCial. That Stats keep that. Yeah, he recalled that probe.
He recalled the probe. Yeah. I'm in awe, mate. He used a recall to save a single probe. Wow.
No man left behind.
None whatsoever. SpeCial, he is going in, and he's actually going for what it seems to be a Widowmine drop, as he did open up with a 1-1-1.
Okay, so using a very different build here than what I was anticipating.
Yeah, similar opener. It did go for the 1-1-1. Meanwhile, the Reapers do dive into the main base, but they do get cleaned up.
And SpeCial does get a decent scout off, but yeah, still not certainly certain, you know, to what Stats is going for here. The mind drop will clear up everything else, so all of his doubts.
I was about to say that SpeCial, because he dove into the main base, like, he knows that it isn't a Stargate opening, so because of this, like, there is potential for the mind drop to deal some damage if the Stalkers aren't in position.
And in position currently, they are not. So shall I actually go in for the natural base here as opposed to the main base? So he's prioritizing getting damage done a little bit more than little bit more than what's it called, scouting.
Yeah, and unfortunately, because he went towards the natural base, these pylons actually spotted the drop, and Stats was able to get a bit of a heads up towards it, so these Stalkers are already in position to deny the drop, and SpeCial hasn't been able to dive in quite yet. Oh, yeah.
Tried to back away right at the end here. This is a massive field spat. This mine drop, it's not getting damage, it's not scouting. This is worst case scenario for the Terran player.
Yeah, he's just kind of stuck here for now. Meanwhile, he's not giving up. We do have a Raven going out across the map as well, maybe looking to hit that main base, but yo, Stats, man, he's a shield of fire. He's got Stalkers all over the place.
He has eyes everywhere. He doesn't even need observers.
He doesn't. He's still getting them, just in case. But, mate, here comes the Raven. It will slip into the main base. It gets spotted by Stats. There we go. He does react.
Oh, and does he take out the Raven? Barely. One more volley and that Raven will go down. This is, again, just stifling everything SpeCial had planned. This is very much of a shutdown. SpeCial hasn't lost any units yet, to be fair, so this push can still happen and deal a ton of damage. But this also means that Stats just has a lot more resources available to defend. This is why Terran players try to go for the harass before the actual push happens.
There's a reason why you like so many Protoss players look at Stats as the ideal Protoss, right? Like he's just very straight up, very standard, and like he's just so good. just so good.
Honestly speaking,
just look at him, like he just defends everything like nothing, mate. I need to say this again. He recalled a probe at the start of the game to save it. Like, who does that? Stats does that, mate. And here we go, wait, we got 6 gateways, 7 gateways on the way. Finally, now that Stats is basically fully saturated on 3 bases, he's ready to ramp up and actually start focusing on his army.
And that is terrible news for SpeCial. He started to push out now. There is a little bit of a window here where Stats is still trying to get his infrastructure and won't quite have enough minerals banked up to really start warping in like the Protoss player would want to do. We'll see. Oh, real good feedbacks.
Oh boy, meanwhile, one Midwine does burrow and it looks like it will not get a shot off. Meanwhile, the Raven does throw down this auto turret, and right now all that SpeCial's doing is distracting the army because SpeCial is pushing up into the natural.
And he scans, doesn't see anything, but Storm did finish up, and that bio taking that Storm to the face will get completely sandwiched by the Stalkers here. One hit is all it's going to take out these Marines. SpeCial so overstimmed. If he can get in the mineral line, he should be able to get some damage, but what a complete shutdown here. Stats lost 5 probes to that push, plus that harass, that mine drop, and that Raven.
Exactly. Like I could foresee it, and I didn't get a chance to say it. So like Storm was like halfway done, and Stats already had 4 High Templar. He already had, and as soon as Storm finished, mate, he was ready for it. We saw the Storms land. Here we go though. SpeCial, he does drop into the main base with these Medivacs, looking to finally deal some damage, but yo, the army is not too far behind.
Stats buying himself more than enough time with those warp-ins to reposition the rest of his army. And again, what did SpeCial get? I believe he got an Archon as it was morphing in. No, he got a High Templar, he got a couple of Stalkers. Nada economic damage.
Oh god, exactly, and we'll see what SpeCial can get done here. I mean, SpeCial, he did take a 3rd base, right? He did expand. He is now attempting to Maynard. There we go, attempting to saturate it. He already has a Ghost Academy as well. To be fair, we were mainly focusing on what Stats was doing. On the other side of the map, SpeCial, like, he hasn't skipped a beat when it comes to tech, so he will have EMPs available, and that'll be so important when it comes to dealing with High Templar.
Yeah, when you get a couple of ghosts out, that's when you really have both armies on even footing. SpeCial can really start to go toe-to-toe, but that's also dependent a lot on whether or not Stats takes the bait and exposes his ghosts. Or exposes his High Templar, rather, because right now for Stats, all he needs to do is just maintain his lead. He is comfortable on 3 bases, he is getting that 4th base up, and as long as SpeCial leaves him alone, Stats is gonna just comfortably max out and destroy anything that SpeCial can throw his way.
And that's the worrisome thing, right? Especially because like Stats is aware of the power of Ghost and EMP. That's why Stats has all his High Templar tucked away nicely in the War Prism. There's a small timing where you need to land your EMPs when the High Templar land and before the storms land. And it's just it's so difficult to hit that. Of course, we'll see how this turns out. SpeCial, he scans, he's moving in.
He's trying to get a position out. This is honestly one of my favorite dynamics of TvP to watch, not so much to play, when it's really the focus and the micro being tested by both players. Storms do get thrown down, but they don't quite land. SpeCial doing a very good job of pre-swinging his army, and he is starting to converge on top of the army of Stats. I just noticed he interference matrix War Prism.
He did. The War Prism was out of the fight, but you know what? Now it's back in. The Storm does land on the main army. The Disruptors, they get caught off guard.
They do get caught off guard. Another storm gonna be landing. A lot of the bio does get picked up here, but Stats did all he needed to do. He just needed to make sure that SpeCial wasn't able to get key damage done, and he is looking more than fine.
Oh yeah, here we go. Another High Templar coming in. Not enough energy for Storm, but it doesn't even matter. GG gets called.
Stats a little bit more shaky here. Not by his own fault here. That was a very good that was some very good engagements coming out here from SpeCial, forcing Stats to look a little bit more shaky. But when it's all said and done, he was able to steady himself and take that game. Beautiful defense.
Yeah, like SpeCial, he was able to deal damage with that push, right? Like it was amazing to see the disable on the War Prism, but as soon as that happened, Stats, he pulled the War Prism back. He kept the High Templar alive, and we saw the Storms come into play later on. SpeCial, he was able to snipe the Disruptors, which was pretty huge, but it didn't even matter. The Gateway units were enough for Stats, the Storms were enough for Stats, and Aye,
indeed. And I have an update here for us, Light. Everybody in the chat, if you do not want a PvP finals, give SpeCial all of your energy. He is the last non-Protoss player, as Trap has been able to take out Solar and is now facing Parting in the other semifinals.
Oh boy,
we've casted by Pig and Gemini.
We were here last week. We're here again. Where SpeCial is the non-Protoss hope right now. He's trying to carry that with him through here, but again, it's not looking good. He's already down 0-2.
So that's just one more win. Man, oh man.
It's so unlucky.
I'm just filled with dread right now.
Yeah, it's so unlucky for SpeCial. Like I would have better odds for SpeCial if he went up against like Zest or Trap or Parting. Like just Stats just feels like a hard counter. Like, oh my god.
I mean, how many times do we need to bring up that statistic?
Yeah.
100% win rate.
Oh god. Literally
100% in 2020 and so far in 2021. Hopefully that can turn around here as we load into Lightshade LE, potentially the final map of this semifinals, and based on how the series has gone, most likely the last map in this semifinals. Please prove me wrong, SpeCial. In the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, the red Protoss player coming down from South Korea. So solid this week. This is an informed player that we are seeing representing the Afrika Freaks. Are you free?
Afrika TV.
He is a shield of iron. Nick Fury himself. He is Stats. Wait.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Lightshade LE, we have the Mexican Terran player. Everyone give him your Doritos for Juanito. He needs them. He is currently down 0-2. This could be it. This could be his final chance here in ESL Open Cup number 66 Asia. He is representing Team Exxon. It is SpeCial.
Oh boy, I wonder what he's gonna pull off this time. SpeCial so far, and we kind of talked about it a little bit before we started the series. SpeCial so far isn't doing what we were worried he'd do. That is just, you know, randomly proxy and try to go for some rushes or proxy builds. He is playing it a bit more standard, if a little aggressive, which I think is what would secure him a victory, again, if he was up against someone like Zest or Trap or even parting, but this is SpeCial. He knows exactly what Stats wants to do, and he knows how to defend against these aggressive plays from Terran.
Yeah, exactly. Which is honestly why I loved game 2, right? Where SpeCial kind of played on that a little bit and he pretended to proxy, right? Where really he just kind of went into a more regular game. But as we saw, it didn't even matter. Like his Raven harass, his Widowmine drops, they just didn't find any damage whatsoever. He just couldn't break that shield. And that's like what SpeCial relies on in this matchup. He relies on like some aggression, some multi-prong attacks, you know, a little bit of harassment here and there, and he just can't pull it off so far anyway against Stats.
Honestly, SpeCial's multi-prong in TvP is inspiring at times. But yeah, as you were saying, Stats is pretty much a counter to that. Immediately, before any action can really happen, he's taken out 2 SCVs and not lost a single probe. Double check, not lost a single probe.
Yeah, the probe just barely managed to survive there on 1 HP. Meanwhile, this Hellion will be able to push away the Adept of Stats. There you go, 1 Adept does fall.
But what about second Adept?
Yeah, and what's interesting is that we do kind of have a weird proxy out here for SpeCial.
Yeah, a little bit of pseudo proxy here, making sure that his starport isn't his main base, but that's also not too far forward, is it? Normally you would see the star port
like
on
up
the
here
other side of the
or
map,
something.
so that's so it's a lot quicker to pick up these Hellions and go into the main base. But interesting position here for SpeCial.
Yeah, just like in game number 2, it's like it's like proxy, but not really. Like I guess if Stats did go for a Haluk Scout, then like he'd be like, oh, you know, something's missing. That's crazy. And maybe overreact, but we'll see. We'll see how SpeCial deals with this, as the Hellion does sneak into the main base, and you know what? The push is here, and the wall is not a wall. There's actually nothing here for Stats.
And the Hellions do come in. 2 Hellions are going to be enough to start two-shotting most of these probes. There we go. Quite a lot of probe damage done already. Stats lining them up a little uncharacteristically. That's 8 probes that you take it out light. 9 even.
Oh my god, the damage is being done, but the Hellions do get cleaned up, and the Marines were not enough to take out that pylon. If they did, it would have been huge if everything was depowered, but Stats is able to defend.
Yeah, in the end, he chases that away, and he's not too far behind the workers, but the important thing is SpeCial was able to get damage done. This is not looking too good. Blink is still a ways off. Stats cannot blink on top of this medevac and take it out, and with that, SpeCial is going to get even more probe damage done here. Doesn't care whatsoever about the Stalkers. He is focusing mostly on taking out probes.
Oh god, that he is, but the probes, they fight back, and in the end, all these Marines will be taken out. But SpeCial, another 6 probes go down. Finally, SpeCial in this series, he is finding some damage. He's up against the wall right now, but he is fighting back. He's fighting back hard. And now it's on Stats. Yo, Stats, he's already got a War Prism across the map. What do we have? Blink is done.
To the main base. SpeCial has finally secured his lead, but can he hold on to that? Stats is looking to paint a bit of a different story here. His Blink Stalkers testing the main waters, or the natural waters.
Oh, yeah, and you know what?
He said it is dangerous.
Yeah, the waters are solid. The waters hold for now. SpeCial, he has enough time where now he has 2 tanks, 1 in his natural and 1 in his main base. Mate, he is perfectly fine. I would hope so.
Lead is well secure right now for SpeCial. That's kind of scrambling to get much of anything done. Now, this is a bit of a problem in Light Shade, though. It is a very wide open main base. So somebody like Stats can just go around and try to get damage elsewhere in the main base. The Warpins is solo!
But
he's gonna have to recall that.
He will. It just barely manages to survive there in the corner of the map. He did get a couple of worker kills, which is nice for Stats, but Stats, yo, he's taking a massive risk here. He's going for the Dark Shrine.
When behind, as the mantra says.
But you know what? Mate, we got missile turrets in the natural.
I feel like SpeCial has just stolen whatever forward thinking ability Stats had here, and he's taking it for himself. He's covering every single one of his blind spots. He's gonna get the War Prism! Potentially! He doesn't get a Warp Prism. Oh, he's gonna get. Oh, he doesn't get a Warp Prism.
He ends up losing the medevac and all those Marines as well. SpeCial, he was hoping to chase that Warp Prism down. He was not expecting the Stalkers of Stats ready and waiting there to pounce upon anything that chased it. And somehow, some way, Stats not only keeps the Warp Prism alive, but also doesn't waste the recall on it either.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Now here come the DTs.
Any other Protoss player would have just recalled to play it safe, but Stats, he knows what he can get away with. DTs are now being warped in. Actually, Stats supply blocked. Hard supply block. Now he's making 4 pylons to sort of compensate. This could be what kills Stats.
It could. It definitely could. I mean, we do have a missile turret in the natural. We do also have one in the main, but it isn't covering the mineral line, so damage can still be done in the main base. DTs can still waddle in. We'll see. SpeCial, he does have enough energy for a scan.
We'll see if he gets utilized. Stats trying to distract SpeCial a little bit here, but losing a bit more, biting off a bit more than he can chew, really.
Oh god, oh god.
The DTs. The Viking. The Viking's out of position now.
Oh, the Viking actually goes down. Yeah, the scan was used on the observer. Oh god, a little bit out of position there by SpeCial. He does lose the Viking.
Genius. From Stats, forces out that scan, and now the DTs, they can potentially get a lot more done. It's up to Stats to realize that.
That it is. I mean, now that the third CC has landed, there's plenty of energy here for scans. We'll see if he does a mule. Meanwhile, the Warp Prism does get into the main base. The DTs land in the main.
My god, SpeCial's got to be kicking himself right now. He was able to secure his natural base and the northern tip of the main base, but now it is all falling apart. 12 SCVs go down, and Stats will finally get ahead in the worker count. He's even utilizing the area outside of scan.
Mate, Stats still hasn't lost a DT. He's
he hasn't.
Oh god, the War Prism does finally go down, but the DTs are swiping away at the Marines. Finally, some of the DTs are getting picked off, but you know what? They've already dealt the damage. 2 scans and 12 SCV kills.
And he's even chipping away at the army, making this push from SpeCial even weaker. This was looking so terrible for Stats for so long, but with that move, he has been able to reestablish himself. Does need to prepare against the eventual push out here from SpeCial, though. It is a very scary Bioterran army. So Stats, he needs to realize what's coming his way. He needs to defend the counter push.
He does, and he spots the army moving out with his observer. It does get taken out due to that missile turret providing some detection there. And SpeCial, he's going across the map with his entire army, but Stats, he's looking to meet him.
Right in the middle of the map before any of these tanks can really siege up. Oh, I'm not so sure this is the right move for Stats.
Oh god, I mean,
his
Stats,
own gaming unit's so exposed.
Yeah, but you know what? He actually took a really big fight there. As you said, the tanks were not sieged up. Once again, he does cut up the army, does take out a bunch of bio without the support of the tanks.
SpeCial cannot move up that ramp. Meanwhile, even more SCVs went down, apparently.
Yeah.
I think they were pulled. No. Actually, there was a big warp in the Zealots here in that natural base location. It is continuing to chew away at SCVs. Meanwhile, the defense over here, Stats, he uses the battery overcharge, but SpeCial is not taking the bait. He is not fighting within range. His own medevacs still are out of energy.
They are out of energy. What's important is that the entire time Stats was chipping away at the army, and now there's barely anything left. SpeCial is forced back, otherwise at the risk of just losing his entire army. And not just that, he was defended against, and also Stats was able to deal counter damage and killed 12 probes. Sorry, SCVs.
And now he's got the disruptors out light.
And the 4th base, mate.
And the 4th base, and he's halfway saturating. Stats is in absolute top form today. This is super solid coming from him. SpeCial, by all intents and purposes, should have at least gotten that base, but Stats, the perfect decision making and forward thinking here.
Well, again, like, it came down to the fact that Stats, he saw the army moving out. He knew what he had to do. He knew that he had to slowly chip away and stem the tide and just like attack in the center of the map, force SpeCial to siege, unsiege, slow him down, just whittle away at him. And SpeCial just fell apart towards the end. He had to go back home. He was forced home. And now what does SpeCial do? He doesn't have a 4th CC on the way. He is working on +2, so maybe he can utilize that, I guess. Oh boy.
We'll see. SpeCial has been able to remake a pretty threatening force out here, but again, it's up to special. It's really up to stats more than anything else to just recognize where special is coming from and concentrate his forces on that point. I don't believe special has enough to multi-prong really.
Yeah, and what's scary is that stats, he has eyes on the map. He has eyes all over the place. He's got a zealot up here to the north. He's got an observer here to the south. He sees where the main army is, and that's terrifying because, yo, those disruptors, they're looking for them juicy purification novas.
I feel like stats has learned a bit from Pig Baby.
Oof.
Hasn't quite gotten a whole bunch of observers yet. Oh, this Nova does not go off because a beautiful snipe happens on top of the disruptor. Stats getting a little bit too greedy here. Meanwhile, I believe a mine drop happened somewhere.
And here comes another mine drop.
Is currently happening.
Yeah, into the main base. We do have a couple of wind mines. There are stalkers. 2 workers do go down, but the drop does get dealt with.
And eventually those mines are going to get cleared up. Stats is very slowly catching up on the army supply.
That he is. Ooh, there is a small drop here towards the south. Stats does have eyes on it. Meanwhile, ooh, yo, especially Sims on forward and takes out the disruptors.
And that's absolutely huge for him. There's no more AoE here left for stats, but does that matter in the end? When both armies are even on supply, I feel like I kind of have to favor the Protoss army. Actually, no, stats is even ahead in supply.
He is. He has been remaking those disruptors 2 at a time with that double robo production. Not just that, maybe we even have some DTs chasing away this Bioforce. Doesn't matter if you scan, the DTs just have so much damage output. Oh, God.
And they have blink. They can just blink away from scans now.
Oh, boy. But here we go. SpeCial, he's got his ghosts. He's got the EMPs ready and waiting. But the problem is that, mate, there's no Storm. There's no High Templar. Like, EMPs are great and all, but, like, it feels like Stats was already ready for that sort of thing. That's why he opted to go for the Disruptors instead.
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario for SpeCial, he can soften up Disruptors with those EMPs and make it a little bit easier for him to snipe, but he still has to contest with that massive gateway buffer.
Oh, God, exactly. And speaking of stats, mate, he's now fully saturated on 4 bases. He's taking a 5th base as well. He's looking to harass here towards the southern side of the map. Oh, but there is a missile turret here with detection.
CT is not going to be getting too much done over here, but they don't really need to. As you said, stats is well ahead in terms of the economy.
Oh, God, and this is scary, mate. +1 fire attack is on the way. We got some Stargates on the way, mate. Stats is getting ready to go into Skytoss.
And that is really going to be the final nail in the coffin. SpeCial doesn't realize that Skytoss is coming his way. He has been building an anti-ground Protoss army. He does not have the units whatsoever to deal with Skytoss.
Mate, the surround, oh, God!
A perfect sandwich. Hot pickup, though. Oh, but a pickup right on top of the Stalkers. A lot of bio starting to go down. Some of these medevacs will live, and a lot of bio will be landing into the main base, but recalls just like that.
Just
and
like
there's
that.
no easy way out for SpeCial.
Exactly, like if SpeCial leaves towards the south, like there's already an army ready and waiting for him. Like Stats is waiting for him. Oh my God, and SpeCial, he's forced to fight.
He doesn't get too much done. Another medevac full of bio gets taken out.
This is it.
When it's all said and done, no damage was taken by Stats here. Loses a pylon and a couple of gateway units. Gateway units, they are chump change at this point for a 5 base Protoss player.
Hey, look at this. Look at this. 3, 4 more Stargates on the way. We got a fleet beacon on the way as well. Oh, God. SpeCial, he's got to end the game now before they come into play.
Really feels like Stats is barely breaking a sweat here. He does leave himself a little bit vulnerable here in this transition period. Stats, or SpeCial rather, is pretty close to maxing out. They can get quite a lot done here, assuming he doesn't take too much purification overs.
Yeah, definitely. There is a bit of a zealot run by, but the bunker does buy a lot of time. Meanwhile, the main army of SpeCial is here ready and waiting to jump forward. The disruptor shots! Ah!
Not quite in position. There are a lot of tanks here. They can very much stem the tide of Protoss for the time being.
DTs kill everything.
But ever since before the time, they do so much damage output on these CTs.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you go to Mr. Turret, mate. DTs will destroy everything. 19 SCVs go down. Meanwhile, the main army of SpeCial, he's forced to push on forward. SpeCial, like, everything is on fire at home. He needs to try and end the game.
But he's leaving himself very vulnerable over here. I do like the tech positioning, but it doesn't take much for the Zelts to go around that zone of control and try to set up a flank, or not even. He's actually just going straight for even more economic damage, really forcing SpeCial into an all-in.
Yeah, exactly. Stats doesn't even care. He's like, you know what? All your tanks, they're so slow to move forward. Like, I don't even care. My disruptors are enough to defend against you. He sends his main army forward. He's trying to break the SpeCial right now, trying to break into his natural.
Just for good measure, I'm going to get a couple of DTs, because why not? But really, I know what this is looking like. You are losing just about all your supply. Hot pickup once again, but will mean that these units aren't fighting. SpeCial's running out of scans. If these CTs got into tanks, and they do.
They're on the tanks, mate. They're on the tanks. The tanks go down. Oh, God. You say he's running out of scans, mate. He's running out of orbitals. He just lost 2. He's... Oh, God.
Dios mio, stats on an entirely different level today. GG is called, and in a clean sweep. Stats is going to be your first player making it to the finals. Whew, GG. Well played here from Stats. SpeCial got close a couple of times throughout the series. If this was any other Protest player, I feel like we would be going into our ace match, but Stats, he is in form today. He is looking to get some EPT points.
Mate, that was terrifying. I mean, sure, this game went the longest, and I guess you could argue maybe it was the closest, question mark, but for the most part, it did feel like Stats. You mentioned it in the cast. He wasn't breaking a sweat. Like, it never felt like he was in any real danger at all. In any point in that game, SpeCial, he was trying to make these pushes happen, but like Stats, he was always ready for it. He was always ready defensively. He was always counterattacking across the map at the same time. He had the freedom to, you know, invest in that tech switch as well, and just rely on nothing but disruptors to defend. It was crazy what he was able to pull off.
And it reminds me of one of those old like kung fu movies where you'd have like one of the thugs go up against the old master, and the thugs would be like throwing their fists really fast, but then the master is just calmly swiping it away slowly with one arm.
Just stepping over to the side, just avoiding them completely, you know, like
and it just knocks him once in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Knocks him out.
That's what we just saw, mate. That's what we just saw. Like, SpeCial had some nice fancy moves there. Against, as you said, against any other Protoss player, he would have been able to take some games, maybe go to the ace match, but not against Stats.
He is the old master. He is Nick Fury.